to interacting with you and those listening to us. And overall, looking forward to a very productive conversation.
Great. 2021, you were appointed to the GSE. How has it been? It's been over 5 years now.
It's been not quite 5 years, but going to 5 years
Okay.
because I was appointed by the president, the then president, in June of 2021. But then I had to go for confirmation, of course, through the Senate, and then officially started my job first week in August.
Okay.
Of
So
2021.
you are nearing 5 years.
So I'm nearing 5 years, and it's been a fantastic experience at the GSC. I've been privileged to work with a very productive team. We have facilitated very good teamwork at the GSC, and through strong leadership and also very good networking, we've made many strides at the GSC. And hopefully very soon we'll put all of those achievements in context.
Yes, great. Maybe just recounting the last nearly 5 years. What are some of the biggest successes or achievements at the GSC on your watch? I know we'll go to the other two, but this is very critical so that people get to know, what you've been doing over there, very young man, and some of your challenges as well, because nothing good comes without a challenge.
We have had major improvement in a number of areas.
Okay.
So firstly, we have managed to expand audit coverage by over 100%. And by audit coverage, I mean we've increased the number of audits. Prior to joining the GSC as Auditor General, the GSC was completing around 25 to a maximum of 35 audits on an annual basis. We have expanded that significantly, I would say by over 100%. Last year, we completed a total of 107 audits. We were able to publish about 52 of those audit reports on our website last year. And this year, we are striving towards publishing 100 audit reports for the first time in the history of the Commission. We have also regularized the audits of the consolidated financial statements. Now, the GSE has a very big mandate. That mandate is to aid the legislature in its oversight responsibility by ensuring transparency and accountability is exercised over the use of public funds. And by that mandate, we are supposed to be auditing all government ministries and agencies on an annual basis. But currently, we do not have the capacity to do so. So the mitigating factor for that is every year, as part of our public financial management laws, every government ministry and agency should prepare financial statements and submit those financial statements to the offices of the Auditor General and the Controller and the Accountant General 2 months after the end of the fiscal year. So the way we have a calendar fiscal year, for example, now, from January to December. By February, every single government ministry and agency should submit financial statements to my office and the office of the Controller and the Accountant General.
For what purpose exactly?
For the purpose of exercising transparency and accountability over funds that were in charge under your stewardship. Now, the only way you say you are accountable first is to report for how much money was given to you by the government through the national budget system. So you have to ensure that those financial statements are prepared and submitted. After those financial statements are prepared by the individual line ministries and agencies, it is the responsibility of the Controller and Accountant General to consolidate those financial statements and prepare what we call the consolidated fund financial statements, submit those unaudited statements to the Office of the Auditor General for audit. So like I was saying, although we have not been able to perform the 300 audits within our mandate, we have regularized the audits of the consolidated financial statement, which means we have been able to audit the government of Liberia every single year. Why is this a major achievement? It's a major achievement because before I became Auditor General, the consolidated financial statements were unaudited 2 years in arrears. And this was not the fault of the GSC. The GSC had always been placed to perform these audits, or the Ministry of Finance was not preparing and submitting the financial statements to the Office of the Auditor General in a timely manner for audit.
Okay.
So when we recognized this challenge, the first thing to do was to build that relationship to ensure that we emphasize that government ministries and agencies are preparing financial statements. At the time, only 40% of them were preparing and submitting. We had to emphasize that. We liaised with the Ministry of Finance and then the World Bank to ensure that penalties for non-preparation of financial statements were strengthened. So now, if LBS, for example, does not prepare and submit financial statements to the Office of the Controller and Accountant General, the controller of LBS salary will be withheld, and then the law even says
so that puts more pressure on the controllers to be on top of that game.
The heads of the entity salaries will also be withheld as well. So when we got that going, the individual line ministries and agencies were able to prepare their financial statements on time. They were able to submit the financial statements to the Office of the Controller General of the Ministry of Finance. And so then the Ministry of Finance was able to prepare those unaudited consolidated financial statements and submit them to us on time. This is also a key indication of good governance practices, which when public financial management ratings are then done, this is one of the key factors to look at. Are your consolidated fund financial statements audited on time? The GAC, during my tenure, have ensured that we have regularized the audits.
Okay.
As the statements are submitted in April, we start the audits in May and ensure that these unaudited financial statements are audited and published on our website on or before the 31st. But there are also a number of key achievements that I want to run through.
Because we have to go to all the issues. But
Sure.
yes.
We have managed to perform a number of unprecedented audits during the period of almost 5 years. The audit of the Office of the President of the Ministry of State. It is the first time that the GAC have been able to perform this audit.
And how critical was that in the first place?
Very, very, very critical, because it set that pace, or it set that precedence that absolutely no office or no public official in the country is immune from accounting over your use of public resources. We were also able to audit the national legislature
For the first time?
for the very first time. And some of my colleagues in the sub-region are even amazed. They ask me, how have we managed to get that? But that is the interagency relationship that we managed to do.
What sort of audit did you perform at these critical areas? Is it compliance audit or financial audit?
We did basically what looks like a compliance audit, but we call it a system audit where we issue limited assurance. It is difficult to perform a full-scale financial statement audits at these entities because they have not been audited at all, and some of the fundamental requirements needed for facilitating the performance of the full-scale audit were not in place. So we also performed, we published the report of the Senate. It's on our website. We are in the process of very soon publish the report of the House of Representatives. We were able to perform the audits of the judicial branch of government. That report is also published on our website. And for the first time, the General Auditing Commission was able to perform a full-scale compliance audit at the Central Bank of Liberia as well. But there were also some key other audits that
what were some of the key findings in the reports? And did the heads of these institutions, perform these different recommendations?
Well, if I want to be honest with you, the audits at the legislature, the Ministry of State, the judicial branch showcase a number of system and control lapses.
Okay.
Right from governance system where there was no strategic and operational plan in place. In some cases, no annual reports. Financial statements were not being prepared. There are a number of key issues. Possibly, in some cases, almost everything that should have been wrong with an ideal system was not in place. So that's why I said it made it very difficult to perform a full-scale financial statement audit. Now that we've performed these audits, we also have another key achievement that we've put in place that I want to talk about which is the implementation of our follow-up unit. But quickly, some critical audits as well, because we have 1 hour.
Sure.
And I want to enjoy my time because I'm not somebody who really like appearing on the radio for the obvious reason. Because sometimes everything is politicized in this country. So as I'm on the radio now, I want to be able to fully utilize my 1 hour so that we can be able to speak
45 minutes
to the people and talk to them about this key achievement. For the first time, we're also able to perform the audit of the civil service, a comprehensive audit of the civil service payroll, which most people call the national payroll audit. And that audit was able to save the government millions of dollars through the implementation of audit recommendation. Some of the findings that we discovered were people who were making significantly above the pay grade. We also found out that several thousands of persons, over 7,000 persons who were no longer in the workforce or had abandoned their duty were still on the payroll. And through implementation of recommendations from this audit, the government was able to save millions of dollars. Also, last year, we published a domestic debt audit report where we disqualified claims in excess of over 700 million United States dollars. And sometimes these audits are, I believe, underestimated, because had the GAC qualified these claims, which were unsupported, and because for us auditors, we rely on evidence to form our conclusion, if we have qualified these claims, it means that the government was automatically indebted to vendors in claims amounting to over $700 million. We were able to write it, disqualify these claims, and created proposed savings. And we call it proposed because some of the vendors who claims were denied the fee agreed, they may go to the court system, and it is the onus is on the government through the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Justice to ensure that the relevant representation is made, because we qualify claims on the basis of the law. If there are fixed criteria for qualifying claims, if you supply the government of Liberia a computer, for example, the relevant documentation beginning with the procurement processes documentation, the delivery order for those goods all have to be in place. So we have created proposed savings of over $700 million. We also just published a revenue system and reconciliation audit. Very interesting audit report. It's one of the 26 audit reports that we just published on our website, which showcase some major system and control weaknesses relevant to recording and collection of our revenue. And I was happy that for the most part, the Liberia Revenue Authority, the Ministry of Finance, and the Central Bank have embraced the report. They have put in place some mechanism to expedite the implementation of the recommendations in those reports, and we expect that with full implementation of the recommendations, we should be able to even expand our revenue base. Okay. But we've also what we call operationalized follow up on the implementation of audit recommendations.
Yeah, sure. Now, because if you were to do all these audits and you did all the recommendations and they are now being implemented, sometimes it makes no difference.
Thank you. So we thought with ourselves. You know, sometimes people say the GAC is putting out all the reports and nothing is happening. Yeah, sure. We can only execute our mandate. Our mandate is to ensure that we perform these audits, submit these audit reports to the National Legislature through the Public Accounts Committee. Ideally, the PAC is supposed to call public hearings on these reports and issue an investigation, a recommendation report to the Office of the President for implementation. But there are other avenues as well. The LACC can pick up our reports and perform investigation, and based on conversations.
Because you don't have that prosecutorial
we don't have the prosecutorial power. So what we did, because at the time, the PAC was not, and I said before 2024, the PAC was not implementing the number of public hearings that it should have. So we decided, consistent with international best practices, consistent with the GAC Act of 2014 and our own strategic plan, operationalized to follow up on the implementation of audit recommendations. A very important new practice within national audit offices, or what we call the Supreme Audit Institution environment, where the Auditor General issues his report but he also have this unit, independent of the audit function, that provides technical capacity support to aid the auditees expedite the implementation of audit recommendations. And this has proven to be very rewarding. We've issued 2 annual status reports. When we did the first report in 2024, only 13% of total audit recommendations were being implemented. Through this technical capacity support that our team at the GAC provides to the auditees, we were able to expand the implementation of audit recommendation nationally to 37% in 2025. But what interests me most is that some individual line ministries and agencies were even able to expedite or enhance the implementation of the audit recommendation for about 90% to 93%. The Liberia National Road Fund got 93%. The Liberia Maritime Authority got about 91%. The Liberia Revenue Authority got about 90%. So while the overall country rating was at 37%, there were some line ministries and agencies that were showing very strong implementation of audit recommendation. There are a couple of other achievements I can talk about as well, very briefly, maybe in the next 5 minutes to wrap up. We've also managed to expand the independent status of the General Auditing Commission. And I'd like to remind people, sometimes in early 2024, there was this noise about the US government had put out a report, and that report indicated that the GAC was not independent up to international standard. And a number of people who did not know about what Supreme Audit Institution independence was started to run with the narrative that the GAC is seen not to be credible. Far from the truth.
But are you credible?
We are. We're very credible. In fact, from an independent perspective, in 2024, the World Bank rated the General Auditing Commission as the most independent audit institution in West Africa. This is not me, I'm talking about the World Bank, using the standard metric system. But we have even done more now through the help of international partners, because after that rating was done, the U.S. Government Accountability Office and ourselves have a very good partnership to monitor our independent progress. The Auditor General, the then Auditor General of the United States, because he just retired in this December of 2025, AG Todaro, invited me in Romania, September, to give a story about our independence journey, because he had followed it during the era of my predecessor, Madame Yuseda Guier, the late, may her soul rest in peace, who did a lot of job to ensure that the GAC Act of 2014 was passed by the legislature that kickstarted our full independence. And so the passage of the act meant that from an operational perspective, we were strong in reporting directly to the legislature. The Auditor General had a fixed term of office, amongst other things. But the budgetary disbursements of our allotment was what was not consistent with the law. And as far as SAR independence is concerned, operational independence means that the Auditor General, protected by a tenure of office, reports to Parliament or the legislature, has unrestricted access to information for audit purposes is good, but receipt of funding can also impair the function of the Auditor General. And after we made that visit to Romania, an inter-SAR delegation was formulated. They came to Liberia. They met with high offices, including the offices of the president pro tempore, the speaker, the minister of finance, amongst other major parties. And so, for the first time, also since the passage of the GAC Act, the Ministry of Finance has disbursed 50% of our allotment after the passage of the budget, consistent with the GAC Act, which means that our independent status can even grow. Now, mind you, I reminded you that we're rated 8 or 10, which was the highest in West Africa. If the government of Liberia can ensure that by July, the remaining 50% of our allotment is disbursed, we expect to go to around 9 or 9.5, which means now we'll not just be talking about being one of the most independent Supreme Audit institutions in Africa, but probably we'll be looking at the world alive. So again, the onus is on the government. But then just to conclude on this
let's conclude.
We have also expanded the visibility of the Supreme Audit Institution of Liberia, which is very important as well, because the audit office should not only be seen as a credible office within the country, when you go out there and your colleagues are able to listen to you, to respect you, to continuously invite you to provide your experiences and your perspectives. And when you are performing some of those audits that are not being performed by many national audit offices around the world, it's something remarkable. So in October, for example, 2025, your humble servant, the Auditor General of Liberia, myself, was elected as chairman of ECOSA, the Economic Community of West African States Supreme Audit Institutions, for a period of 2 years from 2026 to 2027. In September 2024, I was also elected by my colleagues at AFROSAI-E, the English-speaking segment,
the African
Organization
of English-speaking
Supreme Audit
Audit
Institution, to represent AFROSAI-E on the governing board of AFROSAI. So I'm now seated on the governing board of the Continent Supreme Audit Institution body, representing my constituency from 2005, 2025 to 2027. I was also appointed on the editorial board of the African Journal for Integrated Verification, a specialized body that promotes scientific institutions. And then I've also made a number of major panel or deliver a number of presentations. Was invited by the overall body, the International Organization of Supreme Audit Institutions, to make a presentation at the INCOSAI. The INCOSAI is the International Congress of Supreme Audit Institutions that is held once in every 3 years. I made a presentation, invited to make a presentation on the role of Supreme Audit Institution in auditing central bank and government activities. And also, we've made a number of other presentations.
Yeah, sure. Well. Great. I mean, Mr. Jackson, you just nailed it. What a great way to continue the show. But let's talk about this upcoming conference. And the General Auditing Commission will host the regional conference under the auspices of AFROSAI-E. What is about this conference? Why Liberia?
So the conference is very important for a number of reasons. For Supreme Audit institutions or national audit offices. So let's get it clear so that people outside of our community understand this very clearly.
Yeah, sure.
Supreme Audit institutions means national audit offices. National audit offices are charged with the responsibility to aid their legislature or parliament in their oversight responsibilities to ensure transparency and accountability over the use of public funds. For us to be able to perform those functions effectively, we must be capable, we must be independent, and we must have the relevant network. In fulfillment of that, so let's equate Intosai to the United Nations, for example. And then the AU is equivalent to what we call AFROSAI, but then within AFROSAI, to facilitate better discussion, language groups meet on an annual basis to be able to share experiences and perspectives, discuss major trends in the accounting and auditing environment, see how we can help each other strengthen independence, and then it's a big forum to network as well. So on an annual basis, all English-speaking and 2 Portuguese-speaking countries in Africa, which is Mauritius and Angola, joined with us because they also speak the English.
So it means they will have a representation here.
Yeah. So we have 26 auditors general that will be coming to Liberia for this conference that is done on an annual basis.
What's the duration?
It's for a period of a week. But I'm coming first. Let me just give the profile of guests that will be coming in. 26 will be coming. The Auditor General of Sweden always attends our program. So the Auditor General of Sweden is expected to come. The Norwegian Audit Office also always attend our program as well. So we expect representation from them. The U.S. Government Accountability Office, which we, by the way, signed a 5-year MOU with in 2025, is also expected to send representatives. And all of these major international organizations in the world, Intosai, OECD, the World Bank, IMF, they all expected to send representatives. So we're expecting around about 120 delegates to a maximum of 150. The last time I checked, we had over 90 persons that had registered. And of course, there are some people that also registered in the very dying meeting as well. So they will be coming for a period of 1 week. The conference starts on Monday, the 18th, next Monday, the 18th. But the first 2 days of the conference is restricted only for auditors general. The auditors general will be meeting at a hotel where we will be discussing current trends in the accounting and auditing environment. We'll be sharing some experiences and perspective amongst ourselves. And then we will be suggesting a number of resolutions for adoption during the General Congress. So after we meet on the first 2 days, then there will be an opening program for the Congress at the Ministerial Complex on Wednesday morning. We expect that there should be 3 speeches delivered at the opening program
On Wednesday.
Morning. I will open the program with a welcome address. It is also expected that the head or the chairman of AFROSAI-E, who is the Auditor General of Kenya, Manamense Katongo, will be giving an address on behalf of the organization. And it is expected also that His Excellency President Joseph Yuma Boakai should be speaking on behalf of the government of Liberia. Now, we've invited a host of high-profile government officials at the program, civil society organizations, anti-graft institutions, a few government officials as well. And then after the opening program, then we will be going into our General Congress, where, as it is very customary, at least one prominent citizen of the country, the host country, will be addressing the Congress. In our case, we have made a case for 2 of our very best past public officials to address the Congress.
Who are
So
they?
on Wednesday afternoon or early or late morning hours, former President, Her Excellency Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, will be addressing the Congress. After that, there will be a series of panel discussions, which I will also be part of one of those panel discussions on that day. And then the next day, former Minister of Finance and just retired Deputy Managing Director of the IMF, Dr. Anthony Saye, will also be addressing the forum on debt management, debt sustainability, and the role of supreme audit institutions in debt management as well.
Okay.
And then after that, there will be a series of panel discussion. I'm also on one of those panel discussions as well. At the end of those 2 days, those resolutions that were suggested when the Auditors General met on Monday and Tuesday will be brought on the floor for adoption. And then on Friday, we have our national cultural excursion, where we'll be taking our delegates to some dedicated facilities to showcase Liberian heritage and culture as well.
Great. So as we speak, is everything set for the conference on Monday from the annual of the GSE?
Yeah, everything is very set. Now, these programs are being planned way ahead of time. Liberia was elected to host this event, or selected to host this event 2 years ago in 2024. When the initial selection is brought on the floor through a nomination, then you will have, if there are several nominations, there will be a vote. I will be honest with you that I've been playing a very active role within our organization. So the moment Liberia was mentioned on the floor, there was a huge sense of excitement and enthusiasm on the floor. So there was no other suggestion that came up, at the time.
Okay. So it means
Right after
Liberia
that
was united.
selection is done, there is an assessment done from an external perspective
Okay.
to see whether Liberia has the capacity to host a conference of that magnitude, because I've already told you the importance of the guests that are coming on the show. That assessment was passed. An internal assessment was also done by AFROSAI-E. So they sent a delegation to Liberia to see where the hosting facilities are, to assess the Supreme Audit Institution or the GSC own capacity to be able to host the program. Those assessments have passed. I would like to, at this stage, say a big thank you to the government of Liberia for adequately supporting the program. Fundings have been disbursed through the Ministry of Finance, and all is just about set for next week.
Okay.
If I would say the only downside in terms of organization is the massive construction of roads that are taking place, all over the place, right from the airport side to right before the ministerial complex, which will be hosting this conference. But what the internal team, the external team that came for the internal assessment told me, the display of road construction showcases development activities. So they understand that, and so we are all set for hosting this very prestigious program.
Great. When do we expect, some of these international guests to begin to arrive in country, or are some of them already here?
They will start arriving as early as, some of them will start arriving as early as Thursday, Friday, up to Sunday. Some of those who are not auditors general may even arrive after Sunday because they will not be taking part in the first 2 days activities. But based on our schedule, we see people will be coming in as early as Thursday.
That's a good one. But when these different conferences are held, how does Liberia benefit?
Liberia benefits in a number of ways. Firstly, we have an opportunity to showcase what we are doing from a transparency and accountability perspective. Because most of these presentations that we make out there, that I go out and make out there on behalf of the audit office, you do not have the luxury of maybe saying everything that Liberia is making, all the strides we are making in terms of transparency and accountability. Now I have the opportunity to give an opening speech and showcase all of what we've done. The president of Liberia also has the opportunity to showcase to the world what his administration has done relative to transparency and accountability. And that's why we are happy that the office of the president has committed that the president is going to be available to speak on behalf of the government of Liberia.
Okay.
But we also have the opportunity to showcase our cultural heritage. We have the opportunity to network with a number of individuals from all these major governance institutions, and they come and listen to our story. And mind you, on a periodic basis, governments are rated based on key governance indicators. Some of those out there may not know about what we're doing. I gave you an example. I was invited by the Auditor General of Peru in February of this year to speak at this international conference on fighting against corruption. When I got from the stage, the first person that approached me was the head of the audit committee of the audit office of Romania. I had made this presentation on how we use data analytics to perform audit, and the findings that came from there were very revealing. And this guy came to me and he said, look, when you were on stage, AG, I was so impressed about the presentation, not because of just how calm you were. He said the only thing I remember Liberia for, growing up as a young man, we used to see on television excerpts of your civil crisis, and we used to see people being killed. We used to see women and children looking out there for foods in refugee centers, and for you to share the platform with us, showcasing that you are performing similar audits that we're performing, has changed my perception. Now, when I hear about Liberia, the image now is no longer the civil war. It's about how the audit office is performing key audits, how the government is implementing the implementation of the recommendation, and that also helped to rebrand the image of the country.
I'm excited that you people also will go on the guided tour. What are some of the key areas you'll be taking the delegates? Because I'm sure some of them will be their first time visiting Liberia. Will there be some cultural performances, maybe local musical artists and all that?
So we facilitated a number of interagency collaboration for ensuring that this conference is held and performed adequately as well. One of those agencies include the tourism authority as well. So the relevant cultural representation will be there. In the morning hours, we have 2 locations that we'll be going at. About 60% of the delegates will be going to Cocoon Lodge in the morning.
Okay.
And then the remaining 40% will be taking a tour of the Maritime Institute. And then after a couple of hours, we'll all converge at Libasa. And that's where more like the close-up party will be held.
That will be on Friday.
Well. That will be on Friday.
Okay.
And that is an excellent opportunity for networking because, like I said, some of the biggest governance international organizations will be present. And that is where myself and other folks at the General Auditing Commission have been able to make a number of very key networking, initiate a number of key networking opportunities. It was on one of those occasions that I met the former International Relations Director of the U.S. Government Accountability Office that led to them inviting us for presentation and signing a historic 5-year MOU. So it's something that a number of the delegates are looking forward to as well.
Will there be a communique signed after the close of this conference?
Exactly. There will be. That's what I'm saying. At our AG meeting, we will be coming up with a number of suggested resolutions. We will be bringing those resolutions to the Congress for adoption, and then at the end of that exercise, the communique will be signed, consistent with what is expected for African Union countries to help aid in strengthening, like I said, 3 key words: our capability as supreme audit institution, our independence as supreme audit institution, and our networking as supreme audit institutions.
Okay, great. You're listening to the Super Morning Show coming to you from the radio service of the Liberia Broadcasting System. Today is Monday. It's May 11, 2026. We have Liberia's Auditor General P. Gaswa Jasin as guests on the SMS, talking more about the upcoming AFROSAI-E conference that is scheduled to take place here in Liberia from May 11 all the way to the 12th, the 13th, the 14th, the 15th, the 16th at the Ministerial Complex in Comotown. So after the conference, I'm sure the next venue will be decided. That will be decided in the conference.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So the next say that again.
The venue for you said this conference
So
happens
it's
every
decided
year.
2 years. We already know where we're going next year. We're going
Okay.
to Ethiopia next year.
Okay.
So in 2028, we will decide where 2028 conference will be hosted.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, but among these different discussions, what does it say about audits and its importance, especially in ensuring accountability and transparency at every level?
So the audit is an extremely important exercise. All of us need to have some level of oversight over what we do. Now, let me just explain the budget process in a summary for you. The budget is planned at the beginning of the year. The budget is then subsequently approved by the National Legislature. The Ministry of Finance facilitates the disbursement of the budget to different government ministries and agencies. Government ministries and agencies have to have good internal control system, facilitate compliance to the laws and regulations, and prepare financial reports. But those reports have to be validated by an independent external body. And that's where audit becomes very important. Somebody who is independent of your daily activities, who will come in and examine your book and validate whether you have spent the money consistent with the law and spend the money consistent with your approved budget. So the audit is not a catch the thief exercise.
Yeah. There's mindset. People,
a lot of people look at it that
when they see or hear about audits,
Yeah.
they be like, "Oh, there's some kind of corruption." I'm sure. Why do people even conduct audit? Let me ask that general
we
question.
conduct audit to improve our governance system so that overall resources intended to better public services should benefit the people. At the end of the day, all the work we do at GAC is to ensure that the Liberian people get optimum benefits from their money.
Is there value for money?
That's the whole exercise. And so when we do the audit, we come up with a number of recommendations. If there were weak internal control system in place, we recommend, and now, like I said, with the audit follow-up, we help you to see how you can implement the recommendation. If you were not accounting for your for the resources adequately, we help you build all those relevant infrastructure to help you account. And what I also like to tell people at the GSC, we are also audited. That is, I would say, one of also the major achievement during my tenure of office. We are consistently audited on an annual basis, consistent with the GSC out of 2014.
Who audits you?
Our audit is performed by the Sierra Leone Supreme Audit Institution, recruited through the Public Accounts Committee of the National Legislature. Previously, we were audited by the Kenya Supreme Audit Institution as well. And for the past 5 years at GSC, our audit reports have shown that we have strong internal control systems at the GSC, and we have consistently been able to obtain clean and unqualified audit opinions as well. So we are not only excited about performing audits, we also ensure that those standards that we expect from you, our auditees, are being demonstrated by ourselves.
Sure.
And that is why we audit on an annual basis.
Okay. Just before we take calls, as we speak, what's the status of the GSC on your watch? Maybe 1 minute quickly. The current status of the GSC.
I think we're in an excellent state. We are performing our mandate. We are aiding our auditees to improve their systems and processes. We've also created a strong sense of visibility of our Supreme Audit Institution in the international community. We are holding key leadership positions out there in the International Supreme Audit Institution environment. Myself, as Auditor General, has been invited at a number of high-profile areas, including the very highest. Look, the most important gathering of auditors general around the world is the ELBC, which is hosted once in every 3 years. And I'm telling you here, Emmanuel, I was invited amongst all of the agencies in the world to make a presentation on the role of Supreme Audit Institution in auditing central banks and government activities. That should tell you how our colleagues out there see us. And I think it's very important that we are being viewed in an objective manner. But the government, we must say that the government of Liberia has also contributed to ensuring that we achieve execute our mandate through providing adequate support to the General Auditing Commission.
Has the government on the overall shown that political will, especially in implementing some of these audit recommendations?
Yeah, so that's what I told you. We operationalized this audit follow-up function. When we started the process, we saw that, implementation rates were very low, 13%. We go on 7%, and I told you that some ministries and agencies are showing high level of performance, 90 to 93%. This year, we expect that. Hopefully, maybe we could even go up to 50%, given the amount of awareness that has been given in audit follow-up processes and the cooperation that we are receiving from a number of government ministries and agencies. So, yes, I think the GSC is fully executing its mandate, and we can only do better.
Okay, it only gets better moving forward. Mr. Jackson, Liberia's Auditor General, is a special guest this morning on the Super Morning Show. You're listening to him. We will interact with you, members of the public. Please stick to the core issues on discussion. I know over time we'll bring Mr. Jackson here to talk about other issues, but please let's stick to the core issues we've talked about this morning on the Super Morning Show. 0800514 0960775 677376 0775 677376 0800514 096. We've got 11 minutes left, so we'll take maybe 2 or 3 minutes into eyes with you members of the public. Let's start taking calls. Good morning, thanks for joining.
Emmanuel, a pleasure. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let me say a pleasant good morning to your guest in studio.
Yes, sir.
I'm Triful. This is the voice of Akwe voicing.
Please go ahead, my man.
Perfectly, and I must commend him for all of the work my ES team continue to do for Liberia. But Emmanuel, I have two questions quickly. And the first has to do with this. Chief, I want to know from you when the audit recommendations from your institution are ignored by government, what happens? And number two, in your view, what are the major causes of financial mismanagement in public sector?
Okay. Thank you. So very much. He wants to know, what happens when audit recommendations are being ignored and all that. 0775 677 0775 677 6. You're listening to the Super Morning Show on ELBC Radio 99.9. We're coming to you live from Painesville City, outside Moon. Here, let me see if I can talk to this person. Sorry. Okay, please call us back 08051409. So he wants to know what happens, and this is very critical. Let me talk to this president, and I'll get back to you, Mr. Johnson. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Let's hear you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Chukon. I'm calling from here every year.
Yeah, Chukon.
I'm going to commend the Auditor General for the hard work done. But I want to know something. The former president, which is my Eddie, the former Finance Minister, he said my Eddie regime. But then what happened to our past government? None of the official have. I'm talking about Liberia.
Okay, you're concerned why you need to invite someone from we as government, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Anyway, thank you so much for somebody is asking this conference what is it very good for Liberia? I don't understand. Maybe he can resend your message. So AG, let's get your reaction quickly. The man wants to know why you didn't invite someone from we as government. Is that really very critical?
No, so we didn't even think about that when we're making our invitations. What we look at is subject matter experts, and if we believe and we're comfortable that you will be able to deliberate on the matters that we're inviting you for, we invite you. I didn't make this decision by myself. It was a pool of committee that made the decision, and we felt that the two officials that have been invited are two of our very best.
Okay.
And that's strictly based on our preference, full stop.
Okay.
I think the other thing is somebody asked what happens if audit recommendations are ignored. So the first thing is the Public Accounts and Expenditure Committees of the National Legislature has a responsibility to invite public officials for public hearings after our reports are issued. And that is why we usually encourage our auditees when we go for this exit conference that look, start the implementation of the audit recommendation, because the PAC will validate to what extent we've implemented the recommendation. But then those other areas that have to do with accountability issues as well, they can make recommendations to the president. So the PAC can recommend to the president that restitution of resources that have been misappropriated are made. The PAC can also recommend or propose to the president dismissal for public officials who have misappropriated government funds, or etc. The president of Liberia, through the Ministry of Justice, can also take actions if they believe that audit findings were grieved and all audit recommendations are not being implemented. Now, the president has the power to hire and fire officials in government. So if audit recommendations are not being implemented, that action can also be taken.
Okay.
Consistent with our PFM, there is also a sanctioning provisions.
Okay.
But that has not really been exercised in our public financial management landscape.
I'll come back to you, Mr. Jackson. Let me talk to a few others. Good morning. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good morning. Pastor Daniel calling from Borough District.
Okay, Pastor. Good to have you.
Thank you for your feedback. I want to ask a question whether if I can invite lawmakers for audit, the senator or representative. So my question to you, I want to know, and why you can invite them for you to audit them? Thank you for your show.
Okay. Thank you. I think we'll take that. That should be our last caller, please. We're not taking calls again. Thanks to all of you for the different concerns. Mr. Jackson, you listen to your caller. Let's respond to them quickly, then we can try to wrap up. We have less than 4 minutes to go. Yes.
So I think if the last caller followed the show,
Yeah, from the beginning.
what we indicated was that for the first time, the GSC has initiated and completed audits at our national legislature. The report of the Senate is currently on our website. That report has been viewed by many, and we are in the process of publishing our reports on the House of Representatives. And what I say is that a lot of stakeholders, international stakeholders out there, are amazed about how we even got this done, because it is not happening in a number of countries. And that tells you that why sometimes we criticize our own system relative to the level of transparency and accountability, we are far ahead of a number of countries out there. So do we audit individual representative or senator? No, but we have initiated, like I said, system audits there, and then we will be subsequently initiating full-scale compliance of financial statements audit based on the discretion of the Auditor General.
Just before we go, are there instances where certain government institutions are trying to block an audit? And that has that ever reached your attention?
That has never. I have not experienced that for a very long time. I experienced it once, and what the law provides is that I will send a letter of non-cooperation to the national legislature. And the only time it happened, we were both invited to the legislature at the PAC, the Public Accounts and Expenditure Committee. But the auditee indicated that, well, they did not stop the exercise. They just wanted some more time to prepare for the audit. So we never really had a situation where people stopped. In an instance where you stopped us from performing an audit, like I say, I will just issue a letter of non-cooperation. And issue a disclaimer opinion to the national legislature.
You were naming institutions that are very compliant. Are there others who are not very compliant?
Yeah, there are others who are performing very poorly. For the purpose of this show, I will not go into that now, but there are some institutions that are also performing.
To name them so that
I wish I had that data. I was rather trying to focus on the positive things on this show, but hopefully in subsequent meetings, when we are publishing our third audit follow-up report, I'm planning to host a press conference where we can be able to name and theme high performers of audit recommendations, but also to be able to name and shame those who are not implementing or expediting the implementation of audit recommendations.
Let's get your parting comments. I know it has been great having you here. We have less than a minute. Let me get your parting comments, AJ Jackson, quickly.
Good. So the first clarification I want to make, I think when I said Portuguese-speaking country, is Angola and Mozambique. I think I'm saying Mauritius. So Angola and Mozambique are the two countries. We are very excited about hosting this very important conference in Liberia, first of its kind in the existence of the commission. Like I said, it gives the country the opportunity to be able to showcase our anti-corruption credentials, to be able to give a number of key delegates the opportunity to experience our culture and our heritage as well. It gives the government of Liberia also the opportunity to be able to showcase what some of the things that have been achieved relative to transparency and accountability under this regime. We've been working very hard for this program. We look forward to fruitful execution of the program. We also want to take this time to say a big thank you to all of the different government ministries and agencies that have aided us in organizing this program, right from the Joint Security that have pledged to offer very good security, the Ministry of Health that will be on the standby for medical emergencies, our coast guards, and all of these different
Multi-stakeholders.
multi-stakeholders that we're working with. We're
Okay.
looking forward to a very fruitful conference, and we hope you guys, members of the media, can also be there to be able to give this program the due coverage it deserves. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. P. Gaswa Jasin has been my guest today on the Super Morning Show, talking much more about the upcoming conference of the African Organization of English-Speaking Sovereign Audit Institutions, AFROSAI-E. It is scheduled to take place here in Liberia from May 18th, all the way to the 22nd. So it's going to be a week of different engagements and all of that. That's all the time we've got to say. Thanks so much to you. Thanks to OKFM, Prime FM, and Cool FM for reading. And thanks to the communication team at the GSC headed by Mr. Aaron Clark for facilitating this. My name is Emmanuel Tatomo.